Hello, I'm Bob Larson, host of the nationally syndicated talk show Talkback. My concern about Satanism is the result of research conducted to write my book, Satanism, the Seduction of America's Youth. What you're going to see on this video will be revealing, shocking, and for some of you, disturbing. But it's important information you need to know. Today, Anton LaVey is a recluse who grants no interviews and makes no public pronouncements. The affairs of the Church of Satan are overseen by two people, his daughter, Zena LaVey, and Mr. Nicholas Schreck, founder of the Werewolf Order of Satanism. Zena LaVey and Nicholas Schreck are the chief spokespersons for the Church of Satan, and they are the two people you will see me confront during this video. Whether or not you believe in a literal devil, you should be concerned about the plans of LaVey and Schreck to establish a satanically ruled society. This interview was not a debate with my countering the viewpoint put forth by the Church of Satan. The purpose of this video was to divulge information regarding the agenda of the Church of Satan, facts that until now have been cloaked in rumor and contradiction. After seeing this video, I'm sure you will be appalled by the evil teachings of Satanism clearly evident in the statements of LaVey and Schreck. You may wish to use parental discretion for younger children during some parts of this video. And now, the first family of Satanism.
The suggestion is that your father hit on a good gimmick. You're always accusing the church of being hypocritical and using gimmicks, but it seems to me that your father hit on a very good gimmick. And then there was a lot of showmanship involved. I mean, nudes on altars and satanic ceremonies. How sincere was the beginning of the church? How sincere?
It was quite sincere. There had to be public attention to pave the way for Satanism to be a recognized and above-board religion, as it had never been before. So there had to be public attention. You don't have a movement without moving.
And the archetype of the devil has always been as a showman.
And he always admitted that.
All artists, anyone who has a creative way of attracting attention has always been accused of having diabolical powers.
No, but
the Christian media is a dying force.
And he's living his life.
Wait. The Christian media is a dying force?
The Christian media is now going through its last very extravagant death throes. Jim and Tammy Baker,
where do you get these statistics from?
All of the evangelists are slowly falling out of favor. And as we move into the satanic century, we're going to see Christianity's last gasp.
Well, now hang on. Excuse me just a minute, Nicholas. You make some broad sweeping statements that do not have statistical validation. Now, while it is true that certain televangelists have had a marked drop in their audiences, overall, the growth of religious media in America is exploding. Can you quote me any statistics in regards to religious radio stations and religious television stations?
Much more.
Do you know how fast they are growing in this country?
There's much more religious media than ever. That's not what I'm saying.
And I think
I'm saying that's a sign of the death throes of Christianity. You've given up your ideals, and now you're joining the devil's ranks, which is to entertain people. You are now part of the media, which is something that the fictional character you base your religion on, Jesus Christ, would certainly not have condoned.
Well, now
you're now using...
Nicholas, you throw so many, you know, I don't want to interrupt you, I want to be polite, but you throw so many little zingers out that are just factually inaccurate. I do have to call you. You just casually say this fictional character, you completely disregard the historicity of Christ. But let's come back to that.
As most historians would.
Well, that's not entirely accurate, sir. Let's get back to the...
Well, it is quite accurate if you want to speak about that.
All right, let's get back to where the whole thing started, okay? Let's get some facts straight here. And I'm asking you, Zena, because the press has kicked these things around. Jane Mansfield. Was Jane Mansfield a follower and or a lover of your father?
Yes, she was a member of the Church of Satan. I will not discuss my father's private life because I don't think it's anybody's business.
was the connection with Marilyn Monroe?
That was an affair that the two of them had when they were both very young and were relatively unknown. It just so happened that both of their lives took off in a direction that, you know, garnered some fame. But at the time that they had this affair, they were both very young, late teens, early 20s.
Sammy Davis Jr. He's been pictured worshiping in one of your father's altars, wearing a pentagram. Was he at a time a follower of the church?
At a time, yes. Actors as well.
Because of
for whom? For example, whom?
Well, because of the recent hysteria we've seen, I'm not going to put their
There are people in every
in
field
jeopardy.
of endeavor, in architecture, science.
As a matter of fact.
You see, you blame it on hysteria, but in fact, if they're a follower of Satan, should they not be willing to step forward and say so? I mean...
well, that's what we're embarking on now.
Well, what the 90s are going to see is a massive rise of Satanism. People are going to come out of the shadows and reveal themselves as thoroughgoing Satanists. Because what we're seeing now is the death struggle between the Judeo-Christian idea and archetype and the more ancient satanic archetype. We feel that the best way to change the world into a satanic arena is by having strong individuals in different areas do their own individual work. So by joining the Church of Satan, you enter into the possibility of going into the higher echelons of the Church of Satan.
But if you join
What's been happening to Nicholas Schreck since the last time we met?
Well, we're entering phase 2 of Radio Werewolf's operation for world dominion. And what we're waging is a cultural war right now on every front, in music, in literature, utilizing the media against itself. What we're trying to do is bring back a resurgence of the Western European tradition that has been all but lost in the world. And we're using music because that's the instrument that young people respond to right now. We're doing propaganda directly to awaken the wolf in man, because the wolf is a symbol of Western European power and fury, and that's why we use the werewolf imagery.
I understand you're talking about the evolution of this, that your music is getting more into the political...
Well, our music, well, I wouldn't say political, because we transcend politics. Politics is merely the puppet show of human beings, and we transcend that. But we are interested in the control of human beings for our own purposes. Music of today is absolute swill. It's designed to keep young people passive, restrained, and it's designed to tame them and keep them into sort of domestic sheep. I would separate young people today into 2 breeds. There's predators, which are the wolves, and there are the sheep, and that's most of them. And we appeal to an elite. We are, frankly, an elitist organization. We seek a few excellent people. We don't want a lot of dross. We don't want a lot of mediocre followers. What we want are people who are capable of action.
Do you see a lot of, do you see some elements of what you're talking about in other music that's...
I think the skinhead movement is a very positive step away from the decadence of the rock and drug culture that has dominated the youth so much. But as Adolf Hitler said, we seek to bring about a youth that has closed its heart to pity. All of the humanist values that Judeo-Christianity has encouraged, we want to wipe them out. It's led to democracy, social humanism, the idea of equality. All of this filth has to be wiped out if the human race is going to continue to take the next step in evolution.
What do you believe that would be like if you were in control, as far as your attitudes toward towards your own people.
Well, we are in control because basically we are not a political organization, we are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind, and we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind. Waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind, and we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind.
Satan, Lucifer, I command thee to come forth. Come forth, and bestow these blessings of hell upon us. Hail, Satan!
Hail, Satan!
The Church of Satan has chosen Satan as its primary symbol because in Hebrew it means adversary, opposer, one to accuse or question. And we see ourselves as being the Satans, the adversaries, opposers, and accusers of all spiritual belief systems that would try to hamper enjoyment of our life as a human being.
Founded in San Francisco, California by Anton LaVey in 1966, the Church of Satan sees belief in God or hell as delusional, and so they choose to practice self-reliance and self-worship.
This is a very selfish religion. We believe in greed, we believe in selfishness, we believe in all of the lustful thoughts that motivate man because this is man's natural feeling. If you're going to be a sinner, be the best sinner on the block. If you're going to do something that's naughty, do it. And realize that you're doing something naughty and enjoy it.
The Spice Girls and groups like them are responsible for destroying countless young people. Sadly, the result of breaking God's moral law through premarital sex has been the murder of millions of babies and millions of cases of sexually transmitted diseases, including AIDS.
Yeah, there is a problem with teenage pregnancies. Yeah, there is. But it's not our fault. Why not tell everyone to go out and get laid without using a condom?
The sad truth of the matter is that many of these children are quick to take the advice of the Spice Girls and bands like them and engage in premarital sex, but not so quick to put on condoms, resulting in countless pregnancies with real living babies. This then results in the murder of countless babies. Even using condoms does not give one the right to break moral law, and often condoms break as well. The facts are that 69% of teenagers admit that they don't use birth control. Less than half of those using condoms do so correctly. And 14 to 16% of those using condoms will end up pregnant within 12 months. This is alarming since females are only fertile for 3 days a month. An incredible 1 million teenage girls get pregnant every year. The saddest thing about the Nazi Holocaust was that tens of thousands of children and babies were brutally murdered by Hitler and the Nazi regime. Many Germans denied that what they were doing was actually murder, as they hid behind the lie that other races were somehow subhuman. Americans are guilty of a Holocaust far worse than that of the Nazi Holocaust, as Americans have killed more than 40 million of their own children. They are guilty of hiding behind the same satanic lie that Hitler and the Nazis did, by claiming that these children are somehow subhuman simply because they are undesirable. Even worse than the Nazis who shut up the children in incinerators of death, Americans have taken the womb created by God to protect and give life and turned it into a human garbage disposal. Early on in Marilyn Manson's stage show, he had a pregnant woman simulate abortion on herself and wrap a little baby in a Nazi flag and present it to a TV set as a human sacrifice. In Marilyn Manson's book, Under the Rules, he quotes Satanist Aleister Crowley, who taught, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Aleister Crowley instructed his followers like Manson to sacrifice babies to Satan. In fact, Marilyn Manson seems to have viewed the sacrificial killing of his own child as a pivotal point of depravity necessary for the success of his album Antichrist Superstar, which was released soon after the murder.